Okay, so my tone's going to be a bit lighter. I felt like the other one needed to be a bit serious. It was about the Soul Foundation, and I don't want it to come across silly. Because normally, when I do films and stuff for work and stuff, I'm normally wearing wigs and all sorts of other shit. And bleep, um, and often I'm taking the mickey. And this one may have some of my humour inbuilt into it, but let's see how we go. So, off the top of the other one that I just did, saying that I came out of the Soul Foundation and wanted to do something myself, I decided on a little side project. And the side project is something that I'm going to run over time on the back of things that I do for my day-to-day work in IT and tech. And I'm often doing lots of other stuff. And to be honest, I've got something I'm planning for next year, which may loop into this. I don't know. Watch this space. I'm going to post this on my normal channels because it's just something I'm doing on the side. And if people are interested, I'll continue to put it on there just to kind of watch, really. I'm not doing this for any kind of clout or followers, although I will put my links onto the videos just to kind of see if it does generate interest. Because one of the biggest bugbears that came out of the Soul Foundation was the clout chasers in the media piece that are basically turning into their own version of gatekeepers, which frustrated the hell out of me. I'm doing this because I came away from the Soul Foundation thinking it's really cool how much evidence is coming up, but it's all based around, it was clearly all based around Europe and definitely all based around the US. And I got to thinking, why in the hell is there nothing in regards to the UK? And they're interested in it because obviously there was a big kind of, they called it the X Files MOD desk at the one point. I forgot the guy's name that was on it, and I watched him on loads of interviews and stuff like Ancient Aliens and stuff like that. But what's the current view on it? How are the UK getting involved in this subject, following on from 2017 when it's got really serious, right? You'd think they'd be interested too, wouldn't you? Spoilers, they're not. I did some digging, and the UFO desk in the UK was closed down in 2009. And I basically put in 2 FOIA requests to the MOD, looking for details of reports and any information they'd got on the people that had submitted the reports, so I could just do some research, really. Both FOIA requests were fobbed off and brushed away. But the second one did have a link to the National Archives. So a couple of days ago, I jumped on and I looked at the most recent listings for files, again, 2009, and I've downloaded a few just for a couple of months. The main startling factor that came as soon as I started looking into these was the volume. So I think it's like October, November, and December of 2009, and there are 259 documents for 3 months in the final year. And to tell you what I'm going to do with that, but I'm going to give you my first initial views of actually looking through these documents in a second. What I'm going to do with it is I do a lot of kind of visual stuff with my day-to-day work. I do things where I put together diagrams and stuff like that and data points and all that kind of stuff, really, when I'm working with software development teams. And I'm going to use the same part of my brain for this. And my idea is to initially look at each year individually, right? So we're starting off with 2009. And to do 2 pieces of work first. The first piece is plot on a map where the sighting took place, and not only where the sighting took place, when the sighting took place. So you first start to see a heat map for that year about where sightings are being seen, and we can color code it by month, so you can see where the hotspots were in any particular given time. And then with the second piece, you can start to then create a timeline as well. So you might also be able to see a route of travel that things are being seen. Um, and then from there, look at the actual detail within the report. So things like how many observers, what did they see, um, the date and time. So you can start to then take that data and you can chop it up a little bit and you can start to see trends and patterns. But also, what I want to do is to look at those reports and try to align that to the 5 observables as well, 6 observables. And kind of do that over time and see where it goes. And like I said, I'm going to show you in a minute what I found because of how difficult this is going to become, basically because of how the MOD have investigated the reports that came. And I'm only going to do it for a little bit, but I think if you are interested in this topic, you're going to find it funny, and you're also going to find it laughable, because there's some responses that I'll walk through with you, and then we'll kind of look at some of the reports, and we'll kind of see how that goes in a sec. So that's the plan. That's my initial view, and I'm going to use some normal day-to-day tools that I use to kind of plot this stuff and build up those views, and then from there we'll kind of see where it goes. There is a call to arms on this as well, because if any of this, so if you're looking at this and this rings true that you know someone, or you know someone that might know someone, or you're actually one of the people that may have submitted some of these sightings, I would then like to push it further to do, I would say, some more on-site understanding of actually what went on. And I've spoken to some people that I saw at Sol, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to kind of do this in line with any of the more mainstream investigating units for this subject?" To which I've said no, because I've had a look at them, and even they seem to be kind of gatekeeping too in regards to even having access to do this kind of stuff. So I'm just thinking, F it, I'm going to do it my way. And I'm going to come at it differently to probably what anybody else comes at it, because I just want to look at what's written down. Because even reading this initially, it's really, really, really interesting. So take a bit of a journey with me. So I'm going to start to scroll, and hopefully I'll be able to put this on screen so you can see as I go what I'm reading, and then yeah, let's see what we think. So I open up the file, and the first file is just basically some kind of log from an admin piece, and then you've got the disposal form. So you can see here, registered file disposal form, UFO reports 2009. So as we're going here, you can see here some references, unclassified, and the date of the last enclosure, which was the 1st of December 2009, and it was the date it closed, which was the 14th of January 2010. Okay, so then we go on. You've got some bits and pieces here that are redacted because of personal information, which is fine. And then you see a response. So I'm going to read this response first. And you're going to see me react to this in a hammy way because I've already read it. And I want to kind of see what you think to it. So this is obviously a response, and we can see that here where it says, "I am writing with reference to your report on a unidentified flying object seen on the 30th of November 2009 over Willencote, details of which you left on an answer phone." And then we're into a bit of a response, which is, "This is the office, which is the focal point for the Ministry of Defence in correspondence to UFOs." Cool, so they've got the right people. Yay. Firstly, it may be helpful if I explain the Ministry of Defence examined any reports of unidentified flying objects it receives solely to establish whether what has been seen might have some degree of significance, namely, whether there is evidence that the United Kingdom's airspace may have been compromised by hostile or unauthorised air activity. That's good. I want you to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Unless there is evidence of a potential threat from the United Kingdom, from an external source, and answer date, no UFO report has realistic evidence. We do not attempt to identify the precise nature of each sighting reported to us. We believe that rational explanations, such as aircraft light, natural phenomenon, could be found for them if resources were diverted for this purpose, but it is not the function of the MOD to provide this kind of aerial identification service. It would be inappropriate to use defence resources if we were to do so. So again, it's looking over that. They're looking to identify if it's a potential threat. I'm going to kind of go back over this after we've had a look at a report, and we'll kind of have a look at that in a bit more detail. The MOD does not have any expertise or role in respect to UFO flying saucer matters, and this is a question of the existence or otherwise of extraterrestrial life forms, about which it remains totally open-minded. I should add that to date, the MOD knows of no evidence which substantiates the existence of these alleged phenomena. Cool. So let's have a look at the report that this relates to. 30th of November, Willencote, description. Strange orange light coming from the north. It was a clear night, no port, no and starboard indicators, translucent halo, lasted 1 minute and 20 seconds, constant speed, and it was a straight line. The observer was outside. It was observed with binoculars, so you'd like to think if it was binoculars, they could see whether it was something more mundane. Clearly not. We were seen from the north. No information on approximate distance. Movements of speed. It was a constant speed. It was a clear night at 20 to 8 in the evening. It went through to the hotline. They didn't leave their occupation. They didn't leave any potential witnesses. We believe that rational explanations such as aircraft lights or natural phenomenon could be found for them if resources are diverted. So you've got a guy or lady 20 to 8 at night on a clear night with binoculars, sees something from the north that has no signs of it being a rational aircraft, and then it kind of slowly moves at a constant speed away. Okay. They've got a report in that kind of doesn't really seem that it's a mundane or rational kind of normal everyday aircraft that's being seen. And following on from the report, because again, you should have a chain of events, we don't have anything else. So it was logged, and then it's kind of just been left. Also, when you actually think about this piece here about hostile or unauthorized air activity, if it's not something mundane and it's not a normal aircraft, then it's not authorized air activity, right? Because they can't explain it. But also, looking at this, they haven't tried to explain it. They've got the UFO report, and then it's just been left. I'm going to have to be quick because I can see that my camera battery is running out. So very quickly, moving on, we'll look at a second one. This is on the 28th. Bearing in mind as well, there was another report here, and they didn't even seem to get a response. So moving backwards, 28th of November. So I'm going to go to the report first. Very bright orange light seen in the sky around 9 p.m. Appeared 4 times recently, not a plane and no other explanation. No information, no information, no information, no information, no information, no information, no information. So there is anything else other than that piece. So again, nothing else has been done. We go to this second one, which is like 2 days before the one that we just read through, and there's another orange light seen in a place called Whitney, and they don't even take any other details apart from the description, and then send them back this response. Let's have a read. I'm writing your reference to the unidentified flying object on the 28th of November over Whitney. Details you left on our answer phone. And then, does anything look familiar here? This office is the focal point within the Ministry of Defence for corresponding with related to UFOs. Firstly, it may be helpful if I explain that the Ministry of Defence examines any reports of unidentified flying objects it receives solely to establish whether what is seen might have been some defence significance, whether there is any evidence of the United Kingdom's airspace might have been compromised by hostile or unauthorised air activity. I'm not going to read it all because it's clearly the same letter. We go to another one here, 25th of November, on email. We saw a very large, bright, orange ball of fire travelling over woodlands in Doncaster, near where I'm from. I thought it might be a plane very low down on fire, but there have been no news reports of such event, and there was no sound. Travelling in a northeast direction towards the Goole area. Realised it must have been very large, high up, and travelling very fast. To give an estimate of size or scale, It was travelling the same speed as an average plane would across the sky, but in the sky, but size would have had to have been 20 to 30 times bigger than a jumbo jet. Was anything detected on radar? Let's have a look. Thank you for your report of an unidentified flying 20% over Doncaster. Firstly, it may be helpful if I explain the MOD examines any reports of unidentified flying objects it receives to establish whether there might have been some defence significance. Now, we've looked at 3, and this is the first document. It's over a week. There's been at least 5 sightings. It's not what you would say a mundane aircraft, and there has been no reporting, no investigation, no nothing. It's clear that they do not think this is important whatsoever, even though these sightings are being seen everywhere. So on to my reason, because this battery is really going to die. I'm going to do some digging, and I'm going to find out the significance, and I'm going to look at data. So I'll look out for that. I'm going to kind of build up a picture, and then I'll run through what I find over the course of the next few weeks, and I'll come back and do another video about what we're finding. It's clear to see the MOD really didn't give a monkeys about this. I give a monkeys, and I want to dig into the detail, and I want to find out what I can, and kind of come back and see what you guys may think of it, one way or the other. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I've also got some bits and pieces from a personal perspective, and if anybody wants me to share them, I will. And then you've got the Soul Foundation pieces as well, and some of the travel shit that I'm doing as well.